We wouldn't have to talk about negotiation if it wasn't for that. Do you guys understand that the negotiation is seeing if there's a partnership available. A negotiation is two people, two or more parties, two or more individuals or groups of people having a bit of a conversation and say, well, is there a mutual value add for us? Is there some benefit that can be gained here? And the benefit might be the relief of an externality. It might be the relief of something negative. When you're negotiating a new roof for your house, it's not that you really want a new roof, you just want your fucking roof to work. So you might be in the realm of negative options. You're like, well, I can have a leaky roof and ruin the home, or I can spend money to not ruin the home. And you don't love either one of those options, but it doesn't have to be a positive thing. It might be the lesser of two evils, or it might be an opportunity for great growth. But the point I was getting to is like when you're negotiating something, it's like if you could just have that, if you were the dictator of the universe and you could just do whatever you want and take whatever you want, you wouldn't negotiate, would you? You wouldn't be here talking about negotiation this week. You'd just do whatever you want. So the only reason you need to think about negotiation is, well, since you don't have that superpower, and we're going to have to use some communication skills to make the best of things with these other people that sometimes impose their will, or there's circumstances or externalities beyond your control that you're going to have to work with others to overcome. Since we have that, then I guess we'll work on that. But the first part of who are you is not a noble question. Is if you were the dictator of the universe, how would you want to spend your time? And that would tell you a lot about who are the people that you care about or that you're sympathetic to, who are the people that you absolutely don't care about and you literally don't think they have a right to live, literally. And then you can get on to that next one. So, well, given who I am, well, what do I want to do with that time? Given those resources, given the opportunities you have, what would you like to do? So who are you? What do you want to do with that? What are we building? And this is not a cheery thought, but I'd encourage you to get in touch with your mortality very early. The younger you are when you understand, oh, I'm going to die. Oh, it's extraordinarily improbable that I'll be the world's first immortal. The earlier that you understand that, he laughed when I said that, so he hasn't thought about it quite. He said, oh, I'm going to die someday, but it wasn't a serious thought. And then when you hear oh, yeah, it is extraordinarily improbable that you're the world's first. How many of you how many of you secretly think, I had this delusion until my early 20s, despite being around a lot of tough, I've seen people die in front of me, and despite that, I still thought, oh, that won't happen to me, How many of you, carried that delusion around for, 100% for part of your life? How many of you still carry that delusion around to some extent? So, oh, that won't happen, that death thing, that's for those other people. That's for the 100 billion humans that lived before me, and the other 7.7 billion that I'm sharing the earth with now, but that's not for you. That's not for you, man. No, that shouldn't be a sour note. That's it's going to happen, so it just is, It just is. It's not something you need to have an opinion about. But given that fact, what do you want to do between now and then? If that's not motivating, if you don't have that thought, the price you pay for not internalizing that thought is that it's very improbable I'll be the world's first immortal. And the price you pay for not having that thought is you're going to mismanage your time. If you don't come to terms with that, you're going to mismanage the time that you have. You're not going to make the best out of the time that you have. And that's a real tragedy. If you were immortal, you spend your time a lot differently. So there should be an urgency. There should be an urgency. What do you want to do in the time that you got? There's a life expectancy calculator online. It's free. It's from Johns Hopkins University and University of Pennsylvania, the Wharton Business School, and Johns Hopkins made a life expectancy calculator together. And if you lie to it, it'll tell you some funny numbers. But you should just tell the truth. You should do both, actually. You should lie to it and talk about ideally I would do this and this and this and see what that number is. And then you should also just tell it the truth of well, what are your real lifestyle choices and how are you actually living? And just see the disparity between those couple numbers. But that'll give you a good proxy for how long are you likely to live. And don't worry, if you made it this far, then you're going to be above the average life expectancy. So say your life expectancy at birth, I'm just saying rough numbers, say it might have been 80 at the time that you were born. But if you already made it to 20-something, 30-something, 40-something, well, you already beat those odds. So if it was 80 at birth and you made it to 30 or so, your life expectancy now is probably 90. So you might have more time than you think. But play with that and make a serious note. Like, all right, what do I want to do with that time? And I think you'll manage your time a lot more wisely. You don't appreciate something if there's not a scarcity. We're going to talk about gratitude in a minute. All right, and then that last thought is about who are we going to spend that time with to optimize that? Who are the people? Who are the partners that I need to have? Who are the allies that I need to create? That is a negotiation of sorts. It is going to entail good marketing, good negotiation skills, good communication skills. If you don't have those three things, you're going to have a lower quality group of people around you than you could have. If you don't hold yourself to a pretty damn high standard, you get to hang out with people that have the same low standards that you do. You don't get to hang out with people that have these super lofty standards, and then you don't hold yourself to a similar standard. You're gonna hang out with people. You're gonna fucking sink to your lowest standards. You're gonna sink to your lowest standards. So, if you want to have the best friends, the best women, the best business partners, you're gonna have to be one of the best people yourselves. And that's great. That's not a bad thing. It just accept that. Say, all right, what can I do to make myself even better? Accept yourself how you are. That's back to that entitlement thing. Accept who you are right now, the good stuff and the bad stuff. The good stuff and the bad stuff. What are the few good things that you got going on? It's probably only a few. Most stuff you probably suck at. Probably suck at most things. And a few of them are worth fixing, very few. Most of them you're just gonna suck at for the rest of your life. So I would say inherent to those first couple of questions is like, well, what are the things that I need to focus on that would be the highest drivers of value for me? Given who you are and the type of lifestyle you want to have, what are the things that you're just like, you know what? I'm never going to be a good golf coach. I'm never going to be a great golfer. So I might as well spend zero time for the rest of my life thinking about that.